I was gonna start this video with a full face cam full face cam clip because I don't normally do that, but this is the state of my full face cam and I don't know how to fix it, so that'll be a problem for Adam to figure out. Okay, so we're back with more of the Innsmouth case. I got a juice and hopefully I can talk. You recognize its roof from afar, and after a long walk, it is now before you in full splendor, the Gilman Hotel. At least it's easy to see that it once must have been a gorgeous building. The hotel resembles an old English country estate, but in its present state. It would be suited as the setting for a very predictable film about teenagers and chainsaw killers. Wild and withered ivy has a firm grip on the walls and obscures the details of the richly decorated facade. A gallery of gargoyles melted into unreal shapes by acid rain and acidic pigeon droppings lines the roof. The many window panes have been neglected for years. Only in a few places has a small area been wiped clean in order to see outside. There are 2 cars in the parking lot, a vintage car with large rust spots and a large gray van. The kind of van you've always been warned about as a child. Whatever. The kind of van you've been warned about as a child. Let's inspect the cars. You look around again just to make sure that the people who own the cars aren't hiding somewhere with their shotgun at the ready. The coast is clear. First, you walk over to the antique car. Well, you're not a car expert, but the car looks antique to you anyway. Both seats inside are made of white leather, a bit tacky. You turn away from the antique car and look towards the van. No writing on the side, a regular registration plate, the windows in the front blacked out. Hang on, you have a brainwave. Maybe this is the van into which poor Tabitha has been pulled when she was kidnapped. When she was lured to her awful fate by sweets and lollipops. That sounds plausible, yes, but I don't know. Of course, it all makes sense. In all likelihood, you've just managed to find the actual kidnapper, the seed of all that is evil and wrong in this case. And all you had to do was book a hotel room and stare at cars. You're a natural. Now all you need is some proof. What's the plan, Stan? I don't want to smash a window. Get in the boot. Of course. Whatever it is that you're looking for must be in the back of the van. Excitedly, you walk around the van. Sadly, the door is not open. That would have been truly lucky. Full of optimism, you try the handle to see if the door has been left unlocked. There's noticeable resistance when you turn the handle. Damn, you won't get in without the car key. You walk back to stand in front of the bonnet of the van. We are not smashing a window. We're leaving the parking lot. You've stayed in the parking lot long enough. You do not want anyone else to call the police on you. Anyone else? Maybe you should just go and book your room. You really hope the inside of the hotel has been looked after a little better than the outside, but you're quickly disabused of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With the loud creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and painting on your part, you manage to open the door, enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite give the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotten floorboards hiding under the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and wallpaper also appear rotten and musty. Sort of wet. No way am I going to check into this moldy dump, or... I don't think we have a choice, do we? Isn't this like the only place? Let's go to the reception. Before you let yourself be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposefully towards the reception desk. A small greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff on his dark green velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. The figure smiles at you, or perhaps it's more of a grin. His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. His smile looks like it's painted on. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seem to stare into opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny. How may I help you? You're startled and take a step back. Welcome to the Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you? The man's gaze remains unchanged, and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised that he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you could have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. Just like now when he's not speaking. I would like to book a room, please. I would like to book a room, you begin, and manage not to blurt out, in a different hotel. Perfect. The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be able to welcome you as its guest. May I ask whether you're in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying with us? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have family? Who knows that you're here? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? How long can you hold your breath? Funny story, I've been able to breathe underwater since I was a child, answer all the questions Mural sends me. This would be funny. But I'm sitting so close to the camera. Mural sends me. Mural has recommended us. Brilliant. In addition to your room booking, you'll receive the luxurious wellness package Caligula, free of charge. The concierge smiles, the kind of smile that lets you doubt whether this is in fact a good deal. He gets out his pen. Let's get you checked in. You tick the box next to... business. How long will you be staying with us? About a week. Favorite view. Let's do the city. Would you like to be woken up? No. Do you sleep deeply? Odd question. Oh my god! We could just go down like the flirtatious path of this. That'd be weird. Look at this guy. He's not exactly a looker. I never sleep. I'm always by myself. Do you have family? Family's none of your business. Who knows that you're here? Why are you asking me all this? Can I interest you in our spa, fitness, and wellness activities? No. Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? No, no, no. How long can you hold your breath? Funny story. Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge's expression did not change a tiny bit for the duration of your conversation, let alone did he blink. Thank you very much. That is all I needed to know. Now all you need to do is sign here. He tilts his strangely shaped head over the guest register. Ah, yes. Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here's your key for room 666. Enjoy your stay. You look at the key, which has magically appeared on the counter. Then your eyes slowly wander past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. Let's continue searching. Thanks so much. At least you've got a bed for the night. You think it's best not to waste any more time and decide to immediately keep looking for the girl. With quick steps, you hurry out of the building, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Time to go and look for Tabitha. Let's go to the harbor. Innsmouth Harbor is signposted much better than the local hospital. You wonder if a hospital is even needed here. It's a half-hour walk. A mile-long carpet of cobblestones is now ahead of you. The traffic in Boston is more hectic, but at least they have heard of asphalt before. As you keep walking, there are fewer and fewer residential buildings along your path. In their stead, there are now warehouses that must be fish markets due to the smell. You can also hear the occasional metallic clinking from nearby workshops. People in gray raincoats are walking toward you. They're probably fishermen who have some errands to run. Now and again, in that split second when you pass another, you catch a glimpse of the faces hidden under the hoods. Puffy eyes that look at you suspiciously. Although there are a few clouds in the sky, there's no chance of rain as far as you can tell. Why are they all wrapped up like that? You wonder if they have a sixth sense for approaching storms. The sound of the rhythmic blows of a hammer nearby tears you away from these thoughts. It'd be interesting to watch the work in the shipyard, but little Tabitha is unlikely to be here to play. From a distance, you can already see the mass of the boats, which rise up into the sky like a row of spears. You walk along a small street at the quay, while the harbor basin just behind it. Let's look around. The view of the harbor is splendid. Boats of all shapes and sizes are coming and going. Nets are being emptied out, and fish seem to be endlessly splashing into huge freezer boxes. Local trades are being sealed with handshakes, and at the end of the wide headland, a huge lighthouse watches majestically over the bay. The ideal postcard motif, if it weren't for the people. You only know fishermen from the movies, and you have to admit that you have certain prejudices. These include: they have weather-beaten skin, and the captains always have well-groomed beards. They are either strong, silent types or hard-drinking lads who sing filthy sea shanties. But these creatures in front of you are neither majestic nor leery. They move around more like tragic hunchbacks you'd expect to see in French cathedrals. A few yards to the right, there's a fork in the road and a roadside pointing north, and its inscription reads Innsmouth Paradise Beach. And a far distance, you see a building that looks like a church. Hang on. A church? On the coast? How eccentric. You go to the lighthouse. Initially, it looked as if the lighthouse was quite close, but as you keep walking, you realize that the trip is much longer than you expected. Oh, shit. A path consisting of jagged rocks leads to the lighthouse in the harbor. The lighthouse is on the end of a narrow strip of land, and as you walk towards it, the surging waves risk drenching your clothes in icy salt water. It takes all your concentration and some balancing not to wipe out on the slippery rocks. In your mind's eye, new bills are already fluttering in the mailbox, one from the shoe repair shop and one from the psychotherapist. An overturned wooden sign lies on the ground between few of the rocks. You read the label. Warning, absolutely no trespassing. Innsmouth hasn't been precisely inviting since your arrival, so you already know the tune. You approach the lighthouse looking for shelter, but with every step you take, the place becomes more and more unwelcoming. The gray clouds transform into a mighty storm. Lightning strikes the top of the tower and sparks fly. Despite the storm, the lighthouse keeper hasn't put on the signal, so there is no beam of light to guide boats out there safely to the harbor of Innsmouth. Excuse me. Soon, you're completely drenched, but you make it at last. You're standing at the door leading to the inside of the lighthouse. Some joker has scratched something into the flaking white layer of paint on the surface of the door. Do not come any closer, they want your body. This sounds suspiciously like a UFO sect, a sex cult. Danger. You have to be pretty damn stupid not to take this improvise inscription seriously. An old lighthouse holds many potential sources of danger. The rusty structure is about to fall in on itself, has unsafe railings and stairs, and there just may be a bad man with a shotgun waiting for you. You consider the dangers that this depleted old building may hold, a fragile building about to collapse. UFO nutters with aluminum hats, sex-hungry mindless, and naked cultists housed us, not to mention the missing girl that you need to find. Still, how often do you come to a place like this? Almost automatically, your hand comes to rest on the black iron door handle and pushes it down slowly and carefully. The door opens a crack, giving you a small glimpse into the neglected interior of the lighthouse. Darkness. Let's go in. Fuck it. Why not? Unsure of what to do next, you peek into the darkness. It's a dark, tall building, a very, very tall and thin building, admittedly. It is highly unlikely that the lighthouse will collapse today of all days. At least this is what you keep repeating in your mind like a mantra. You step inside. It's dry but cold. The icy, stale air cools your shivering limbs even further. A spiral staircase leads up to the higher levels and to the top of the lighthouse. On the higher floors, you can see round windows in the side of the wall through which thunder and lightning throw brief flickers of light. Even the lowest corridor catches some of its light, so that you find yourself not completely in the dark. There are also lamps that wind up along the banister. The black and white tiles on the floor have probably not been cleaned since the dawn of time. Storage boxes are cluttered around the place and take up a third of the area in the ground level. To your astonishment, the walls of the lighthouse consist of a solid stone foundation. The metallic red and white painted exterior cladding must have been installed sometime later as a modernization measure. You think that a sex cult in here is now a bit unlikely, but do you not want to give up hope just yet? What now? The lights? Trying won't hurt unless, of course, you blow a fuse. You flip the light switch and wait in the twilight for something to happen. You know from old lamps in the cellar that they sometimes need a little time. You flip the switch again and again. You come to the conclusion that you have to make do with the pale daylight. You look more closely. As you look more closely, you realize that there's an inscription just above the light switch. Read it. You manage to make out. Activate to close the electrical circuit. Electricity powers many machines, especially those giving off light and warmth. Indeed, that is how light switches work. Well observed, strange person who wrote on the wall. Inspect the boxes. Considering that the lighthouse is easy to reach from the port, it strikes you as odd that there are all these supplies here. The boxes seem to hold food supplies, which make up the bulk of the goods, and loads of spare electrical parts. You inspect one of the open crates that, according to its label, has been delivered by a company from Salem. Spare lamps, tools, wiring. In theory, even a dusty system such as this one can be brought back to life with all these parts. The food is not quite to your taste, but efficient. Tinned tuna, sauerkraut, and all kinds of canned fruit still fill over half of the open crates. 4 of the boxes are empty, 12 others are still untouched. Whoever lived here must have avoided contact with the locals like the devil avoiding holy water. Finally, some sensible people. Let's head up. The banister has suffered the most age damage. The ravages of time have not only worn away the paint on the metal, but also the iron struts and pillars themselves. The scaffold seems to move precariously as you walk up, just as if the construction is about to collapse. When you're halfway up the stairs, you hear a loud, metallic creaking sound. The stairway suddenly jerks down a little, and your insides feel like they continue to drop to the ground. Fine dust flutters down onto your head. You tried to guess the depth of the fall. If the structure were to collapse now, you would break quite a few bones or worse. The chances of you getting caught up in a sex cult decrease with every step you take. Keep going. Just because the core of the spiral staircase is a bit loose, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to collapse, right? And perhaps it's just the residual alcohol in your bloodstream that's causing everything to spin. You carefully continue your way to one of the higher floors, about 30 feet above the entrance hall. is the first mezzanine floor. A metal floor in the core of the spiral staircase would also provide some stability if the whole thing weren't so damn rusty. You can see a plain bed, a desk with a telephone, a chest of drawers, and a wardrobe with an embedded mirror. A Persian carpet is laid out over the ribbed metal floor. A pathetic attempt to make this room a little more homely. At least there's a window on this level. Rain pelts against the glass. The weather outside seems to get worse and worse. You hesitate. Let's inspect. There's not much to explore here. Some neatly folded sheets and bedding have been placed on the bed, awaiting a new inhabitant, perhaps. You turn to the desk. On it are a few envelopes and an atlas. You inspect the envelopes. You grab an envelope from the stack. Your fingers glide over the rough, fibrous paper. In the faint light, you can see how yellowed the envelope is. Either this is a specially made paper from the craft shop, or these letters are pretty old. The envelope is not sealed, so you fish out 10 $100 bills and a piece of paper with the strange doodles that don't make sense to you. Is that a language? The characters are too chaotic for a normal text, going across in rows and back again. On the back, you find a small text in English. Means of payment necessary for the purchase of goods and services valid from to, with some doodles instead of a date. Maybe it's an art? The only question is whether you're going to pocket the money or not. No, I don't need it. With a heavy heart, you stuff the note and the bills back into the envelope. The money does not belong to you, and whoever it is for, that someone might return soon. You take great pains not to look in the wardrobe mirror. You probably look like you took a bite out of a lemon. You inspect the atlas. The atlas from 1984 is still in amazingly good condition. You'd think that it had been sitting here on this desk for decades, waiting just for you. You look through the table of contents and then flip through the atlas. Some pages are marked areas in Antarctica and Australia marked with strange curls. In addition, pages about the United States, the state of Massachusetts, and the surrounding of Innsmouth are marked. A yellowed road map of Innsmouth has been stuck into these pages like a bookmark. The lighthouse is marked. On the last page, you will find an entry. Land mass distribution in political territories valid for, followed by a series of the same curls. You put the book back, back how you found it, I don't know, something like that. The bed. Doesn't look super cozy. There's a note pinned to the headboard, place for rest, used for sleep cycle and procreation rituals. Traditionally used during the nighttime. For care instructions and terminology, check. The rest of the note is not legible and covered up by strange scribbles. It's an old telephone with the dial plate. Just for fun, you pick up the receiver and get a dial tone. Next to the phone is another note. Communication apparatus connects acoustically to other similarly constructed equipment after the identification number is entered. Identification numbers can be obtained in person or from the central register provided. Under the phone are two old books dating back to the 70s. The first one is a Consumer Electrics Manual. Short leaf through shows you manuals and construction plans for TVs, cameras, telephones, radios, cars, and the like. The other book is a Boston phone book. There's a bookmark peeking out from the side of it. When you open the book on the page, the phone number of a carpet cleaning company is marked. You can neither make head nor tail of the matter. That's not. Nothing else. You think you've seen enough and continue to follow the banister up the stairs. Meanwhile, thunder and lightning outside have become so furious, just as if the center of the storm is the lighthouse itself. Stoically, you continue your way upstairs. The banister continues to wobble and squeaks suspiciously, but it withstands the strain. The radius of the spiral staircase gradually becomes smaller. You estimate that you're now halfway up the building. You walk past another platform floor. This level is obviously used for nothing else but storing boxes, at least 30 or 40 stacked boxes full to the brim with books. Seeing all these books causes a warm, fuzzy feeling in the pit of your stomach. How adorable! The previous lighthouse keepers must have been bibliophobes. You hope that you get to meet them, even though the place does look pretty deserted. Jesus. Let's keep walking. Keep walking up the stairs, past another mezzanine 9. And then you're on the upper level of the lighthouse. It's getting more and more unlikely that you'll find anything relating to your case here. Oh well. The last stairs are always the hardest. Or was it the first ones? No matter which step... The last steps are always the hardest, or was it the first ones? No matter which steps, your heart is now beating so strong that you can feel it pressing against your chest. Once you're back home, you should really consider a healthier lifestyle. At last, you have reached the top floor of the lighthouse. Dulled glass windows separate you from the thunderstorm outside. Rain pours down on the panes, and lightning occasionally illuminates the sky and reveals the bellowing sea. If you were an artist, this would be an ideal place to paint tasteless paintings with ships on the churning waters. In the center of the floor, there's a metal column that must be there to support the lighthouse's uppermost platform. You assume that all this serves to stabilize and balance the construction. Apart from that, the floor is completely unfurnished. Sheets of paper with strange doodles are fixed to some of the window panes, pencil portraits of people, trees, houses, and dogs. Around each drawing, someone seems to have made notes, but you can't make out the language. You wonder if it was a destitute artist who lived here towards the end, or some sort of Russian sleeper agent. Another ramp leads to the top of the lighthouse where the actual lighthouse apparatus must be installed. You walk up the steep stairs. You've done it. You made it to the top of the lighthouse. Not in a million years did you think this job would take you to such an exciting place in a boring coastal town. There is still a nasty thunderstorm out there, and the lightning keeps illuminating the glass cage in erratic intervals. Spellbound, you look at the roaring waves. They're beautiful. The power and steady movement of the waves, the foamy salt water splashing up oh so incredibly high. You're so enticed by all that majestic beauty that you almost wish you were outside now to feel the fresh sea breeze on your skin. But wait, why did you come here again? You try to tear yourself away from the endless spectacle of the sea and turn your attention to the center of the small glass dome. It is then that you make a curious observation. The lighthouse has no light at all. There is no light construction that you could rotate in the direction of the harbor or the sea, not even a flashlight on the microphone stand. Where you would expect some sort of electrical machine, there is only a black column of about 3 feet high, whose curved forms merge at the top into a kind of marble plate. An altar, a voice in the back of your head informs you. There's a cube on the altar. Cube? Look at it. Intrigued, you walk closer. The material of the cube must be bronze. It glistens dully in front of the black marble column. The object looks as if it belongs just there. It's perfect right where it is. Everything looks as if it's been made from one piece. What you first thought was some arbitrary decoration turns out to be hieroglyphics, cranes, simple tools, knowing eyes. Curiously, you walk to the column on which the cube rests. What are Egyptian hieroglyphs doing in a lighthouse on the east coast of the United States? Your fingers are itching. Oh shit, I don't know. I just kind of want to see what happens. Just for a brief second, you simply have to hold the bronze cube in your hands. Feel the texture of its surface on your fingertips. Inspect the hieroglyphics more closely. Measure exact weight. Smell it. Lick it. You have to know everything, absolutely everything about it. You extend your hand and touch the cube. And now you can't let go of it again. It seems to have melted into your skin or somehow attached it to you. Yes, it has sucked itself onto you, and it continues to suck. Your subconscious and your soul, everything is now trapped in a never-ending slipstream coming from this cube. You feel like you're caught in a mighty vortex that pulls you down deeper and deeper. All of a sudden, you have a strange out-of-body experience and start to see yourself from the perspective of the cube. You feel something unbelievably strange beside you. Some sort of being has emerged from the depth of the vortex and is passing you by to float in the opposite direction. What is happening? Your soul is swallowed by the cube, and something strange occupies your body, loosens the last anchors, and pushes you over the edge. You cling desperately to the mortal shell, and then, your mortal shell, your consciousness starts to crumble. For a brief moment, you think that, from the perspective of the cube, you're looking at eyes that no longer belong to you. Then everything goes black. Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna end this here. I don't know what's going on now. I probably shouldn't have done that, but that's fine. It's fine. It's for the content. It's for the content. Okay. Bye.